Hello there, everybody. Dragonfire here. Happy April Fool's Day and happy 2-year anniversary. That's right, my very first video on the channel aired on April 1st, 2 years ago. So if you like my videos, please like, share, subscribe, comment. All of that stuff helps me. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I want to kick things off here. I am doing my Karate Kid ranking. Um, I am ranking the five Karate Kid movies, and I actually have four of them here on. I don't even have them in order. Uh, there's the first one, second one, the third one, and the fourth one. And of course, there was a fifth one as well, which was a remake of the original. It was a kind of sort of remake. It did change some things up a little bit. The main character in that one's not named Daniel, and his mentor is not named Mr. Miyagi. Instead, I believe it's Mr. Wong, and um, and the little kid's name is Dre instead of Daniel. Um, it's it's not a bad movie. All right, and I tell you that I just finished watching the TV series too. Just finished watching uh, probably less than a week ago. I watched the final episodes of season 6. Yeah, the Cobra Kai TV series ran for 6 seasons. Rumors are out there that they're planning on doing a movie now, which will actually kind of cross over the original with the remake. That should be interesting. I don't know if those rumors are true or not, but that's where I read somewhere online that they're going to have Jackie Chan uh, meet some of the characters from the original series. Um, yeah, and they're going to do a crossover. Um, these movies were really hard for me to rank because I think some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses in each entry in the franchise um, kind of stand out in their own way. Um, but for now, since the purpose of this video is to do a ranking, I am going to say that my number five, I'm going to rank the remake at number five. Now, I'm not just doing this because it is a remake. I'm doing it in a way because I feel like it copied the story from the original. Now, I do think it is one of the better remakes in some senses that, yes, it basically copies the exact same story from the original. There's so many things. If you would watch the original Karate Kid from 1984 and the remake from whatever year it came out, 2000 something, um, there are definitely a lot of similarities between the two. A lot of copying of bullet points and and plot points. You know what I'm saying? So um, I think it's actually really well done, and I kind of want to rank it higher, but I don't know. I'm very conflicted on this ranking, but since they didn't make it Mr. Miyagi and they didn't make it Daniel LaRusso and all that, it does open the door for a crossover since they are technically different characters in the remake and in the original. And in the remake, they're not. They don't. There's no mention of Mr. Miyagi at all or Miyagi Do karate. In fact, it's not karate at all that he learns his kung fu. So, um, yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, it definitely takes so much from the original. And watching them close together when I rewatched them for the series, I realized how many point per point per point it took from the original without reusing the original stuff. You know, it didn't have um, Cobra Kai, it didn't have Miyagi Do, it didn't have Mr. Miyagi, it didn't have Daniel Russo or any of those other elements from the original. But it took the entire story, the kid and the young boy with a single mother moving from one place to another place and trying to fit in when he moves there, and getting picked on by bullies, and even some of the when they enter the tournament, and everything that happens in the tournament beat for beat, like when he's in the semifinals, the um, the coach telling the guy to hurt him rather than to try to actually win the match, even if hurting Daniel will get disqualified in the semifinals, and he gets hurt. Even though the other kid thinks he could beat him without cheating, he gets hurt, and then he comes back for the final match. Um, so much just copied stuff from the original, and um, I guess maybe that's why I'm putting it where I am. I think it's good. Again, these are really hard for me to rank because I like all of these movies in different ways. Um, Maybe I'll go next with again, these could be ranked in almost any order for me, but I'll go with the next Karate Kid. Um, this one I actually really do enjoy. Um, in a so bad it's good kind of way. There are definitely things about this one that it are made badly in the next Karate Kid. They definitely make some mistakes in this movie, but it's almost like the mistakes are so bad that they're good, or that the whole plot and the whole everything is so bad it's good. It it is a fun movie, and um, the bad guys are definitely over the top and zany and unrealistic villains in this one for sure. Um, this one, if you grew up in the '90s, you probably like this soundtrack. I personally um, am borderline between the soundtrack for this one, which has some great '90s music, and the soundtrack for Karate Kid 2, which has some great '80s music. Definitely the best of the original trilogy. So it just depends on, like, do you lean more towards '90s music, or do you lean towards '80s music? Because I think Part 2 has the best soundtrack for '80s, and this one has a pretty cool, like, '90s soundtrack. Um, but this is fun for what it is. It's different, It's like they did the original trilogy with Daniel LaRusso, and they come back for this one with um it's the '90s now. Let's change things up a bit. I don't think the actor who played Daniel even wanted to come back and do another movie, so they're like, okay, let's do something. What if the Karate Kid were a girl instead of a boy this time? Um, and there were so many throughout the run of the TV series, so many references to the first three movies, and I was just waiting and hoping that they would give a nod, some sort of nod, like like reintroduce a character who only appears in this movie. But I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler. They don't do it in the TV series. Maybe they'll do it in one of the upcoming movies at one time. They'll have a guest, you know, just have Hillary Shank. There, I can't even pronounce her name. Hillary Shank, show up um, for a brief cameo or something. I wish she would have done it in the TV series. I know she was working with Netflix at the time that the Cobra Kai TV series was being done with. Um, there was the Cobra Kai TV series was being done with Netflix, and she was working with Netflix on a different show. So I would have loved it if she had just made a brief cameo. And it's like, oh hey, this is Mr. Miyagi's other student. You know, she could have showed up for a single episode of Cobra Kai. It would have been cool, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So sorry about the spoiler on that. But maybe she'll show up in the upcoming movie if it ever actually ends up getting made. All right, so now I'm down to the original trilogy. Um, I'm gonna go with the first movie in the original trilogy at my number three. So it gets my bronze medal. I mean, all five of these movies are about interchangeable for me because all of them are good and bad in their own ways. But I guess I'm picking the first one here because I will say that I just think that the pacing is just a little bit too slow in this first movie. I get it that it's the first movie in a franchise. You're introducing you're introducing characters, um, where the other movies benefit. They can move a little bit faster because you already have some baseline characters that have already been introduced. Um, but for whatever reason, this movie moves a little too slow for me, and I got bored at certain parts. But it's undoubtedly really fun to follow this guy through the trilogy. It's just that the better parts of the movie are spaced out in between some more boring parts, in my opinion. Um, but this is a fun '80s trilogy. I believe the first three all came out in the '80s, um, and they're supposed to actually take place all within like a little over a year span of time because um, he competes in the tournament. It's supposed to be the '84 tournament, and then he comes back in part three and competes in the '85 tournament. Um, but um, yeah, I I enjoyed this movie. It's a good introduction to the characters and a good thing. Sets up and really helped me understand the TV series when I went back and watched it. I hadn't seen the original trilogy of movies since I was a little kid, so it was probably 1990 something the last time I watched any of the movies in the original trilogy. Um, I probably first saw them in the '80s, late '80s or something. I probably first saw these movies, and then I probably watched them a few times as a kid, and maybe caught one or two of them on TV in the '90s, like I said, in the early '90s or something. But I hadn't really gone back and revisited this series until I decided to do it. That I really wanted to revisit the series to get some more context for the television series because I was enjoying it so much. And I knew that throughout they were making references to all three movies. Um, so, um, which one? Which one? Which one? I think I'm going to put number three as my silver medal. Oh, wrong one. Number three as my silver medal. Um, so, part three, uh, this one, they come back and uh, you know, they're Daniel decides not to go to college. Instead, he wants to open a business with Mr. Miyagi, and they end up doing that, opening their own business together. And he kind of gets drawn back into competing in the tournament for a second time. There's some things about this one that kind of don't make sense. Like, he doesn't actually have to compete in the whole tournament as the returning champion this year. He just gets to fight in the final match, which seems really unfair to whoever the runner or the other guy is. He has to go for the whole tournament and then fight Larusso at the end when Larusso is completely fresh. That tournament seems unfair, and they never brought that idea back in any of the TV series or anything like that. So um, some things about this seem like a little contrived, but it's still fun. Like the Terry Silver character is way over the top. He's very cartoonish as a villain, but again, just kind of like with the next Karate Kid, almost in a so bad he's good kind of way. And I really like what they did with Terry Silver's character in the TV series when he returned as well. But yeah, Karate Kid Part 3, fun movie. Um, I'm going to pick Karate Kid Part 2 as my favorite in Karate Kid franchise. Like I said, these movies are so close. They all have their strengths and all have their weaknesses. But um, I like it. They take a trip to Okinawa, um, which I know in the movie they refer to it as kind of its own thing, but I think it is legally speaking a part of Japan. I don't know. Are Okinawa and Japan two separate countries? I think I don't think so. I think Okinawa is just one of the islands that belongs to Japan. But I know in the first movie they speak about it as if it's a separate country. It's not actually Japan. That may be like a local pride type of thing that they don't really consider their particular island to be part of the Japanese islands. But Mr. Miyagi says that it's not Japan, it's Okinawa. But I always thought Okinawa was part of Japan. Anyway, um, you actually get to go there. You get to see LaRusso. He gets a different love interest for every movie. Um, he always ends up breaking up with his love interest in between movies in the next installment. Um, so in this one, he gets this very pretty Japanese girl as a love interest. Mr. Miyagi gets a love interest, sort of, in this movie. It's a pretty neat little installment that I really enjoy. Um, and like I said, it's got that '80s soundtrack on this one. All right. Check out the Cobra Kai TV series. Like, share, and subscribe. Happy anniversary, everybody. Happy April Fool's Day. Thank you, everybody. Dragonfire out.